Okay, I really need to give these variables a more sensible name. It's just like a physics step is conceptually like the step that is taken, but then physics step is also turning on the physics step, and it's also allowed, like how many steps are allowed. Like if you're allowed one step, what do you call that? Allow step physics, can step physics. It's awkward. It's all awkward. So physics step on is fine. I think I'd rather just make it a state. So like physics. Okay. Just like physics step state, or physics system. Some physics step state is fine. Run physics step once and don't step. There. All right. So over in the left panel, I'm going to bring this over to reference, and then I go over to globals and make one of these variables to refer to the state of the physics system, whether it's just running straight, whether we're allowed to step once through physics, or whether we shouldn't be doing anything with physics at all. So physics step state is going to be default. Run physics, right? And then you should be able to press a button to make it so that it can step through physics steps. It's really awkward to refer to this, but that's how it is, I guess. All right, so if physics step is on, then let's see. Yeah, this isn't what it should be. Okay. So, if physics step state is equal to, if we're running, we just don't do anything, but we want to have a button to turn it off, right? To go back to just running physics normally. So if that button is pressed, we're going to make it. So if physics is running normally and turn on physics stepping, then we're going to put the state into don't step. And then if here we just do nothing. I don't want the button to disappear. And this should be a checkbox, actually, I think. So, okay. Stepping on is equal to whether or not the physics step state is equal to, or it's not equal to, run physics. And so if you click a checkbox that says you want stepping on, then it's going to just put it into don't step. and then you press a button, it's going to allow you to step forward, right? Okay, so okay. Really need to make it so like this button stays around as like grayed out, because it doesn't do anything in these two cases where we're running the physics or we're already about to step the physics. Okay. So if we're running, we just run the physics. If we're in step once, we run the physics. If we don't step, then we return. That's it. Except, if we are in step once, then set the don't step, right? So okay. Yeah, I accidentally copied the definition of that enum. Okay, cool. So if we turn on physics, stepping immediately froze everything. If I step physics, ooh, that was a lot of delta time. It's weird. The first one was like a really big step. Yeah, it does look like it's not quite what I want. Right, because the physics time accumulator keeps accruing delta time, basically. I think, okay, we just need to catch. So if physics step state is in don't step, then need to return before we start accruing any time in the bank, basically. So the earliest return here. Okay. So we have an entity, turn on physics stepping here. And if we step physics, yeah, can barely tell, but it's moving. There. Right? Cool. All right. And then for this specific problem, I want to start with physics step state in don't step. So just go right into main and do it, right? So now, when I start up the game, all of the entities, all of the two entities, are frozen in place because the physics system isn't allowed to move forward until I tell it to, right? So when I step the, oh, let's say I have to get really close to probably tell whether anything's moving. But when I step the physics here, it's going to take forever. to move forward. I should probably have like a number field that says, you know, step forward this many steps or something like that, because that's fine. But if you look at the physics of this guy, no, velocity is still 0. Interesting. If I turn off, yeah, it goes, okay, that's weird. There's like a weird time delay until it starts moving, right? So I start the game with the physics off. Look at this guy, I turn physics on, and boom, starts moving. Like, what? What's up with that? Why is that the case? That's weird. So, like, what in this game starts happening after a delay like that? You know, probably the easiest way to solve this problem is just to make it so that setting velocity is a procedure and then just break on procedure setting. But even easier than that is just, I mean, I don't think velocity changes anywhere except in maybe one place. What if I set it to a different kind of movement? So this guy, he's on foot. I guess it doesn't matter. If he's on ride yo-yo, what does that do? Yeah, same thing. Okay. Look at that. It's apparently due to a collision. Yeah, that's weird. So if I turn on this collision, if I allow the yo-yo to change velocity due to collisions, and turn physics on, it starts moving. That's odd. I once made a physics debugger specifically for this, and I'm wondering if I need to bring it back. But probably not. I can just step through it. So if the overlap should never be greater than 0 because basically the yo-yo never overlaps with the only cylinder on the map, right? So I think this calls for a debugger. After build, and just let it run once. Okay. I want to see what happens because there shouldn't be any collisions at all. Oh, I need a target. overlap is some small, well, it's actually a pretty big number. What's that about? Whoa, why is... that doesn't make sense. Oh, their positions aren't being set. What? Wait, what? Actually, what? Next position. Where's next position set? Oh, no. That can't be right. What's that right here? Oh, are none of them mobile? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. But then why... I'm very confused about this. What? Okay. It's annoying. Well, let me check the flags. I don't know why I didn't do that. What? Carbon crash was access violation. I'm GUI crashed. What? Okay, that makes more sense. That is weird. So it is mobile. Oh, right. I can't write. Okay, yeah. I would need to. Yeah, I forgot about that. How should I handle that? I mean, the easiest way is to just make sure that its physics properties are unique if I'm looking at it in the dev interface. That way, it's like, what's happening here? Is I'm trying to write to something that's like a constant and static memory. Which is by design, but I have it so that like if you interact with it in the intended way, you get assigned a new physics properties, but this is interacting with it generically as if it's any other data. So I think if you interact with an entity, it has to set its physics properties to unique just to be safe, basically. Which I don't foresee that causing bugs, but you know, always room for more bugs. Okay. So... it looks like I have a lot of noise on my mic. I'm going to try to fix that real quick. Let me see. Yeah, hopefully this isn't terrible. Yeah, I think this should be. All right. Yeah, I think this is probably fine. All right. I don't know. Some noise is still coming through. All right, I think that's the best I can do. Okay. Oh wow, that's a really truly terrible. Yeah, cool. All right. Physics properties. Oh, yeah. All right. So now, figure their physics, figure their properties, and it still crashes. That's stupid. It's actually stupid. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know. What? Oh, yeah. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So what it really is this comes down here. Don't need the switch anymore. Entity is already of the right type. Here we do need the switch, but this changes to display entity panel, and then cast to the correct type, so that whenever the entity panel is drawn, we call display entity panel, which casts the entity to either player character or an obstacle. And then we check if that entity has a physics body. If it has a physics body, require that physics body to be unique so that it gets its own instance, and that instance data is not in constant static memory, so that when I try to write to the physics data in the dev GUI, it doesn't crash. All right. Should be done. Finally done. 100% done. Don't crash! Oh my god. Are you serious? Is shared. How is that a -1? I'd like for this program to explain to me how it arrived at a -1 index here. Not only that, like, sometime after having the thing open. So the index I just... Okay, so pool acquire failed. Why would pool acquire fail? I guess it's maxed out. Probably because it's running, it's assigning a new thing every frame. Okay. Okay, we get a new index. Step over. Oh my god, please step over. Good lord. This new version of Route Debugger is not really working that well for me. It just gets stuck. Then the memory view is really nice, so I don't want to stop using it. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, now you step. Jesus Christ. Alright. Alright, keep playing. Going to get new properties. Let's go to the end, I guess. The new properties index is 1. The body should be pointed to the new properties. Did it work? I'm not convinced that worked. Okay, so get struct field returns a pointer to the field. So we're getting a pointer to a physics body. I'm dereferencing 1 to get a pointer to a physics body. I should be able to set... Yeah, there's nothing... This should work. Okay, well, let me see. Physics has this address, and then I don't even know why this is here. So physics and physics. This one, oh, look at that. They have totally different addresses. That's wild. D20 and E50. Wait, no. No, never mind. It's pointing to the same thing. Wow. The properties are pointing to like D068 here, this D068 address. Stepping in here, and this should set a new properties here is this address. Right? This D0B0 address. And I step out over here, and physics properties. Oh, what? Why is that null? Entity physics property. Okay, fine. Jesus Christ. Come on. This debugger is really cool and really kind of broken at the same time. Okay. So, new properties at this address. Actually, all right. Let's see. Okay. Maybe just for now I'm going to have this return the physics body properties just so I know it's always being set. I don't know. I don't want to paper over this. It's just that the debugger isn't working. I don't know how else to solve this right now because I literally cannot get a straight answer from the debugger. It's so frustrating. Okay, so and I don't want to go back to the old version of the debugger because that one doesn't have like its memory view kind of sucks. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is a dumb solution anyway. It's just not gonna work. So why doesn't this work? I guess the most obvious answer would be that there's a copy of something happening at some point, but this is a pointer to a pointer to physics. When you deref once, it's still a pointer to the physics body. And I've been using required physics body unique for a while now, and it works fine. Unless, highest valid index is 15? Oh, yeah, for the beta rate. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I really do not understand this problem. So, and the debugger doesn't work. This is dumb. Okay. So okay, yeah. So before and after, the address is the same, but it's different every frame, actually. Not only that, like, okay, that's weird. It's not even, huh. So this is clearly some static address, and this is not. Probably, right? Like, all the other addresses start with 225, I think. And then this starts with 140, which means this is the original static address, and this is the first prescribed address, but is shared, for some reason, is always returning true. And I don't get that part. And I don't get the fact that... Okay, no, that is actually making sense there. Okay. So is shared must always be returning true, but for no good reason. And I don't get that. Okay. So I'm going to spam the log here. Distance is negative. Oh, yeah. Okay. Why didn't I think about a negative distance in address subtraction? Because sometimes I don't think. I think I just imagine the static constant data as being like always like a lower address, so I just didn't see it coming. All right. So now it should not spam. It's still spamming. Oh wait, it's spamming, but it's not crashing. That's good. Okay, cool. Not crashing. That's all. That's all I needed to see. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, cool. No crash. No crash is good. So, yeah, I'm just going to change this back to require it to be unique, because change property, that was just an experiment. The way this works is every entity starts with a pointer to a static constant set of physics properties that are just part of the binary, so they can't be changed, right? Because they're constant. It's not like it's in a read-only section of the memory. So if you want to change a physics property, what happens is you just call change property, and that requires the physics to be unique, which just means like it requires that some properties be allocated specifically for that entity if they don't already have their own unique properties. So that's what's happening here. I need to make sure that this entity's, like any entity that I click on has to have a unique physics properties, because I need to be able to edit them in the dev GUI. Okay. Click on this guy, click on this guy, and it's distinctly not crashing, so that's a good sign. I should be able to go into the flags and edit the flags, and also not crashing. Hey, look at that. And if I go back to physics and turn the physics back on, did that? No, okay. That's weird. So the velocity is just going up and up and up, and it's not moving? Oh, right, because he's not mobile. Okay, so if I go back over to properties and let him be mobile, there he goes. Cool. All right. So let's see. What should I do to solve this problem? Obviously, it's happening here, right? So something. Physics system thinks there's a collision happening between these two things. I have no idea why, because the blue cylinders being drawn here are the physics bodies, and they are definitely not overlapping. And yet, the velocity is clearly coming from a collision. Okay. If there's an overlap, what I can do is I can draw their colliders. So maybe I just don't draw their colliders normally. I'll draw their colliders and have the game show me what it thinks is happening. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is going to be test character, and all right. So the collider, cylinder, or actually just collider, height times 0.5, so half the height there. Alright, so I'm bumping up the position by half the height. Because the cylinder, I need to draw the center. You draw from the center. Okay. And then the time on this, I want to be like 5 or something. And I want then have different colors. And this is an obstacle. Okay. So expected. Okay, that's sure. All right. So anytime there's a collision, anytime a collision is detected between a player and an obstacle, there's only one player character, there's only one obstacle, so uncomplicated. It's going to draw a blue cylinder at the location of the player and a red cylinder at the location of the obstacle. If I can get it to not... If I can get it to file, that'd be nice. Physics. One 22. Physics. No, that's physics. All right. Just need it to be spelled right, and then we're good to go. Okay. Okay, so it drew exactly the same ones. It means oh, you know what? The velocity does make a difference here. When that happened, what was the velocity of either of them? I should. Right, because yeah, it seems like maybe what's happening is the test character is getting some velocity injected, which is causing a collision in the future. Because if I just take the velocity out here, so comment this out. and pretend the yo-yo character has no velocity, turn physics on, they still collide, apparently. That's super weird. Okay, so maybe... Okay, so new physics debug mode might be like whenever it detects a collision stop, then I don't know. Collision. Yeah, if only the debugger worked, that would be cool. I mean, it's probably not the debugger's fault as much as it is just something about the debug information that's emitted with GI binaries, and it's like how it plays with Rad Debugger, how they work together, how they don't work together. Kind of sucks that it's not working. I think I just have to go back to the old version of Rad Debugger. You know, that's like my only... It's the only really good step forward. So I want 924. All right. And this is how you change version of an application that is made well. You go into the folder and you just paste over everything. And then it just works. All right. Cool. So now that I actually have a working debugger, I can step through this. Okay, maybe it wasn't the new version this time, because their positions are reading as the same, and they don't have the same position. Why do they both have all zeros for their position? But why? Next position, next position. Maybe it's as simple as just needing to see the next position. It's actually almost certainly it. So yeah, that's definitely it. If you have a physics body, your next position has to be at the position. You know what? Let's make it a procedure, you can call just like set your position, and that'll set the next position as well. So yeah. That is the problem. So if I want to set the position of a thing with a physics body, I probably just, in general, I should use this procedure just so I'm never caught off guard, right? So set position, and it's good for debugging too. I found like a lot of those like gets, so this idea of using get and set around one field is mostly a trash idea used by people who don't understand what they're doing and are just wasting a lot of time. But for things, and maybe it takes like some experience knowing what the problem fields are. For problem fields, it's like actually really nice. It's a pain. It's like it's dumb for everything else, but like in a really big project with, that's had years put into it with hundreds of thousands of lines of code, I saw like two fields, maybe no, 3 or 4 fields that I thought get and set made sense as a pattern to apply to those things. 3 or 4. And for those things, the reason it made sense was, one, so that I could save the position, like, so for example, a position of an entity, right? I can save the position of the entity before the change. I can set the new position, then I can insert like a debug procedure call after the change, after like the position change, and ask, did this position change make sense? Given like, state A, B, and C the entity has. That's really good for debugging. So in this case, set position, I would say, is actually a really good procedure to have. Very helpful for debugging. Again, get and set, not generally a fan, but for some problem fields like entity position, entity velocity, and entity rotation, I found are like really actually, it's a really good idea to have setters for those. So, yeah. But first I need to ask if this entity has a physics body. So if there's a physics body, we need to make sure that the next position of the physics body is set to the same position. We're setting the entity's position too. Right. Yeah. That's basically it. Actually, if the physics is not null, then we set the next position, else set the position directly. Because if they have a physics body, they're interpolating, and that would just cause like a weird visual bug if we set the position directly like that. Okay. So now, instead of setting the position directly for this obstacle, this very hacky way when spawning it, call set position. But it's not mobile, so depends. So the physics has to be null, and it has to be mobile, actually. Oh wow. Okay, no, that's an interesting bug. So we want to set the next position no matter what. If it is not mobile, we go ahead and set the new position as well. think that makes sense. This seems like maybe it's an overcomplicated rule, but yeah. I'll find out in time. I also need to... No, that's fine. Physics body... Right. Please run. Thank you. Okay. So now, turn on physics. Not seeing any weird velocity accruing. In the next position on this obstacle is set correctly. So yeah, I think that fixed the bug. Oh, shit. That was dumb. Wow. Oh, that's the time step being what it is. Okay. So I have the time scale being set to 0.01. I should have that on the interface as well. Turn off don't step here. Okay. Hey, that's better. I need to get the camera to follow the yo-yo again. It's definitely not, like, it's just going to need some adjustment to get it back where it was. But yeah. Got the bug solved. Got a few bugs solved. Actually. You zoom in, you can see the wheels spinning because the mesh is animating at the correct speed, but physics is in step mode. Step. It's cool. All right. So yeah. Cool. Yeah, the next thing is to get the yo-yo get its movement back to where it was when I was originally tuning it, and then I'm going to once I get the movement back to where it was, I'm going to maybe expand the move set. So it's not just the one move. Yeah. And yeah, I need to figure out the physics at the same time. So basically, quarter events is fix the yo-yo's movement back to what it was, where it's got like good like steering, it's got good like drifting in it, and then probably start expanding the move set and developing the physics kind of at the same time. Yeah, I think that's a good plan. But I am going to go ahead and kill the stream now because it is quitting time for me. Happy Friday to anybody watching. Thank you for watching, and I will be on next week.